PUIC, Parliamentary Union of OIC Member States, online meeting on the developments of situation in the Palestinian territories, October 16, 2023. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon us all. First of all, on behalf of the House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia, I am Fadli Zon, the Chair of the Committee for Interparliamentary Cooperation of the House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia, would like to extend my appreciation for convening this online meeting. Today's topic is paramount importance for the future of the State of Palestine. While we hold our online conversation here, Israel has kept up its relentless bombardment of Gaza amid its order for 1.1 million residents of northern Gaza to evacuate south ahead of a looming ground offensive. Israel has been using white phosphorus in its attack against Gaza and Lebanon, put civilians at risk of serious and long-term injuries. Israel blindly has attacked everything: infants, children, elderly, journalists, women, patients in hospitals, the UN and medical workers, homes, hospitals, schools, refugee camps, and etc. As the result, at least more than 4,000 Palestinians have been killed, including almost 1,000 children and more than 500 women, and more than 10,000 wounded so far, including thousands of children and women. Israel has determined to make a complete siege on Gaza, putting Gazan people living without food, water, electricity, fuel, and other human basic necessities. Furthermore, the U.S. military supplies to Israel has been flowing. Around more million people displaced overnight as Israel sets exit deadline for Gazans. In short, the recent situation in the area, in my humble opinion, Gaza is not under attack. Gaza is under extinction in both the people and the land. Their long sufferings cannot be spoken by words of any language. The humanity, dignity, fairness, equality, respect, and independence that the global community glorify are likely going to miss without any trace when meet the catastrophic situation in Gaza. What a weird world this is. Instead of protecting the most repressed people in the world, the global communities witness the additional military support to Israel. Shame on the global communities. Shame on the Muslim countries. Shame on us. Therefore, it is too far to wish seeing Israel to comply with any related international legal instruments. Israel likely looks above the laws for more 7 decades. Allow me to say, Israel does not look human. It is just like a boulder. Thanks for the initiative taken by many countries to send humanitarian aid for the people in Gaza. It must be the first and most priority, including ensuring safe access and corridor for flowing such aid to the people in Gaza. But Gaza needs more than that. They need help to be able to protect themselves in the long term so that they can live in a decent and dignified life. Seeing the rallies in support of Palestine from all over around the world, I do not believe that most global people still have their sanity. The trouble may come from global policymakers which do not take any concrete steps to save the Palestinian people. Hereby, we as the Muslim global parliamentarians must continue for loudly voicing such sanity. It is now our pressing responsibility. We must deliver our messages in the clearest words as follows. First, we urge the global communities to be objective and fair, as well as comprehensive in addressing the recent situation in Palestine. We clearly state that the initiative taken by Hamas cannot be categorized as an act of terrorism. This clearly emerged due to the continuous attacks by the Israeli occupation on Al-Aqsa Mosque, the annexation of Palestinian land, the provocation of anti-Palestinian sentiment, the continuous expansion of Judaization, and the blockade as well as the isolation of Gaza Strip since 2006. We would like to remind the example of Israeli crimes throughout 2023 before the current situation in Gaza. First, the UN recorded that since the beginning of 2023, Israel has killed more than 300 Palestinians in the West Bank. The provocation of attacks by around 4,000 Israeli settlers on Al-Aqsa Mosque complex throughout last June. And we strongly criticize the international community, including the UN, particularly the Security Council, for not taking any concrete steps to immediately stop the Israeli continued violation of the related international laws. On the other words, we denounce the weak enforcement of rules-based international order against Israel. We ask the international communities to conduct self-introspections and reflection in addressing the Palestine-Israeli cause. It is because the current heated situation is a strong signal on the failure of international community, including the UN and major countries, on the effort to resolve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And we must continue to extend every possible effort in support of the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip to exercise their right of resistance to return to their homeland. And we emphasize that the Palestinian people sense global injustice, the continued illegal occupation, blockade and suffering, the death threat, the desecration of Al-Aqsa, the land grabbing as well as the expulsion from their homeland. We assess that the current situation is a great momentum for all of us to do better. First, for the UN, this is the momentum to see whether it has handled the Palestinian-Israeli conflict in a fair and just manner. Second, it is a momentum for the Palestinian people to stand united. And third, this is the momentum for evaluating normalization with Israel. Fourth, it is the momentum for all parties to seek the root of the conflict, which is the Israeli occupation and violence as well as weak enforcement of international law. Fifth, this is the momentum to lift the isolation of blockade of the Gaza Strip, which has been going on since 2006. And we fully denounce the responses of several Western countries which stand for Israel. Such responses will not solve the root cause of the problem, including the reassumption of the peace process negotiation, which have been stalled since 2014. It is also demonstrates their double standard and hypocrisy. On this great occasion, let me suggest our possible concrete steps to be taken by the PYC and our brother countries from the parliamentary perspective as follows. First, I call on parliamentarians of PYC member states to be leading prayers in presenting a fair narrative on the situation, on the recent crisis in Gaza in particular, and in Palestine in general. And I call on parliamentarians of PYC member states to domestically bridge all stakeholders, including their respective governments, to make sure that as whole fully supportive for Palestine. And third, I propose every parliament from PYC member states to submit a draft resolution regarding the situation in Palestine and Gaza Strip to be submitted as an emergency item in the upcoming Parliamentary General Assembly IPU Forum in Luanda, Angola on the 23rd October 2023. Imagine how many Palestine-related drafts will be proposed at that event in spite of different perspectives. At least we will a main topic, Palestine. And I urge also all to help scale up Palestinian statehood recognition to meet full membership at the UN. Every moment, channel, track, forum, and any possible ways we can seize to echoing such recognition. There are a few countries that have not given their recognition. However, most of the world's nations stand with Palestine. Now, the urgent need is uniting these nations with joint action against Israeli intractability. And I call on our member states of the PUIC to help their respective governments to upgrading and improving their bilateral relation with Palestine in terms of politics, social, cultures, and economics. It further could be conducted through governments, parliaments, businesses, academics, people, and NGOs. So neither diplomatic mission nor normalization is temporarily required. In this regard, normalization taken by many countries perceived as Israeli landslide victory. I underline normalization is a blunder and it benefits Israel in terms of political recognition. So we must ensure to preserve and maintain the Palestinian cause as both regional and global common concerns. Palestinian issues should not be left. So we suggest to isolate Israel from any interactions among nations, especially related to economic activities, through the campaign to boycott its product, for instance. And it is not anti-Semitic measure. It is just a deserved response to Israeli stubbornness. So to conclude, allow me to take this current critical situation regarding Palestine to reaffirm the Palestinian right without any delay for the creation of a sovereign, independent, viable, and democratic state of Palestine based on pre-1967 borders with Al-Quds, East Jerusalem, as its capital in line with the two-state solution and their inalienable right to return to their homes and property from which they have been displaced. I thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi.